2:15 p.m. ET. Editor's note: this story was originally posted in Spanish. You can read that version here. Long Island, New York. On January 17, 2017, Vladimir Guerrero was joined by his family and a large group of neighbors and relatives in his native town of Don Gregorio in the Dominican Republic, waiting anxiously for a phone call that would change the life of the former baseball star. Guerrero was in his first year of eligibility for the Hall of Fame. Things looked promising for a preeminent hitter with a .318 lifetime batting average in more than 8,000 plate appearances. That is the fourth best career batting average of any player since Ted Williams retired in 1961. 3 sluggers and lead closer in the same class? It's going to be a crowded induction day in Cooperstown. However, Guerrero's phone never rang. Guerrero is not just one of the 700-plus Dominicans who have donned a Major League Baseball uniform. For people in his native Don Gregorio, Vladi is the ultimate see-safe way day. We can do it. Poster boy, a very well-known and understood phrase all over Latin America, with an emotional and unique emotional charge, filled with hope throughout all generations. For the large Guerrero family, with more than 100 people between siblings and cousins, Vladimir, or Miqueas, as they call him, is the one who has reached the highest in baseball among the nearly 20 men within his family who have, at the very least, signed a contract with an MLB organization at any level. Virgilio Rojo, one of Guerrero's closest friends who also serves as his publicist, asked him back then, "Miqueas, do you really want to be in the Hall of Fame?" Guerrero was succinct. "Yes, I think I deserved it." The prayers of the whole hometown kept on going throughout the course of the year. On Wednesday, the time of waiting for the single phone call that would change the course of a family and a whole community had arrived. However, on this occasion, Guerrero preferred the privacy of his second home in Long Island, New York. It's a simple home Guerrero keeps, which he uses to share with his relatives who are based in the area. Guerrero, just like many millions of Dominicans in one way or another, has a primo cousin in New York. It was a very simple affair. Only his closest relatives were invited. No pomp, no circumstance. And not in his hometown. Guerrero wanted to avoid last year's hype, despite the fact that this year there was more of a certainty of voting results turning out in his favor. The 2004 AL MVP wasn't going to risk a repeat of last year's letdown. Maybe Guerrero perceived it as a sort of failure in the presence of his people, making it a hard pill to swallow. Only Guerrero, a guy who keeps his thoughts and feelings very close to his heart and mind, knows that. Sources within baseball said that if the call came, it would happen between 5 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. on January 24. The idea was to gather his close family core and wait. Sounds easy enough. That's because you've never waited for a call to tell you that you are, from now on, immortal. At approximately 2 p.m., Jordan MVP Barber, a popular barber among MLB players, arrived at Guerrero's home for a special haircut. It was a session filled with an eerie calmness, while Guerrero's relatives were waiting and speculating on the results of this year's voting. This year, more than 50% of voters made their ballots public, and those projections showed his chances were about 96%. However, no one could be certain about the outcome. "Are you nervous?" I asked Guerrero. "What can I tell you? I can't control things. I have to remain calm and trust in God's will and what writers ultimately decided," said Guerrero, with that perceptive look that served as a reminder for every occasion of his natural, no-glove swing that was one of baseball's best sights for 16 years. AP photo/JC. Hung at 5 p.m., the whole family was seated. Virgilio was, once again, next to Guerrero, who was waiting for that phone call again. Tension started to fill the room. For more than half an hour, jokes and phrases were exchanged in an attempt to ease everyone's stress. "Could it be that they don't have this house's number?" Guerrero said. "Maybe they have my number in the Dominican Republic." Nervous laughs filled the room. Doña Altagracia, his mother, said, "There's no rush. To be in a rush is part of a recipe for failure." At 5:45 p.m., the phone finally rang. Jack O'Connell, the BA Secretary-Treasurer, asked for Guerrero and told him that, according to voting results, he was finally selected to join the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Afterward, O'Connell had Hall of Fame Executive Committee President Jane Forbes Clark join the call in order to officially welcome Guerrero to the Hall of Fame and formally invite him to the activities. The house's living room was filled with joy and hugs. Doña Altagracia proposed a toast and a prayer. Once, I asked someone what was the highest level you could reach in this baseball thing, the major leagues. That was the answer. I said my kids would get there someday, and when I saw what Vladimir was able to do, I knew he could reach even higher. A lot of people laughed at my dream, but it wasn't a dream. Nonetheless, I saw it. I visualized it. I knew this was all going to happen, said Altagracia, also known as La Shishi to her closest people, in a display of exuberant emotion. Last year, it was a huge blow to me. How can I explain it to you? Guerrero said, always tried to be with God, going forward. Now, I'm happy to be the first hitter for my country to receive this honor. Guerrero was in shock, overwhelmed by so many displays of affection. His brothers and cousins brought him the news that, in the dusty streets of Don Gregorio, its corners were exploding of joy after learning the news. His sons, nephews and other relatives started to celebrate just as if they were a national soccer team hosting the World Cup. A lot of days have passed since young Vladimir arrived at Campo Las Palmas, the Dodgers' Dominican base. After 8 months living and training at the team's facility, the promise of signing with the Dodgers was never fulfilled. His brother Ezequiel, who had already signed with the Dodgers, told team executives that, by instructions of Vladimir's mother, he would have to return home if he didn't have a contract. As a way of shooting the messenger, the Dodgers released Ezequiel as well. The Guerrero brothers arrived at Doña Altagracia's home with their talents within them and hoping to return to Don Gregorio. Shortly afterward, scout Arturo de Freitas showed Vladimir a contract with the Montreal Expos for just $2,000.